trains. For 200 years, they've been the backbone of how we get around. But what if the next big thing for them isn't about going faster, but about becoming completely clean? There's a quiet revolution happening on the rails right now, and we're going to dive right in.
Okay, just look at this thing. It's sleek, it's modern, and get this. The only thing coming out of its exhaust is pure water. That's it. No smoke, no soot, no greenhouse gases. This is the promise of hydrogen power, and it's pretty incredible.
So, could this one idea change everything? I mean, is this some kind of far-off sci-fi dream, or is it a real, practical solution we can use today? Well, let's find out.
But, to really get why this matters so much, we first have to talk about a huge problem. And it's one that's kind of hiding in plain sight on our railways.
46%, just let that number sink in. What is that? Well, it's the staggering amount of the entire European Union's rail network that is not electrified. And that's the key, right? If there are no overhead power lines, the trains have to carry their own fuel. And for almost half of the entire network, that fuel is still diesel. Yep, the same fossil fuel we're trying so hard to leave behind.
And what's really wild is that this isn't just an issue in some places. I mean, look at Germany, a powerhouse of engineering, right? They're actually ahead of the EU average, but still, a whopping 39% of their rail network isn't electrified. This is a massive, widespread problem.
So, you're probably thinking the same thing I am, right? If the overhead lines are the clean solution, why don't we just electrify everything? Well, it all boils down to one simple but very, very big factor: cost. We're talking up to €2 million to electrify a single kilometer of track. Now, for the super busy main lines, okay, that investment might make sense. But for all those smaller, quieter regional routes, the cost is just astronomical. It's not going to happen. So we need another way. And that is where the hero of our story comes in. This is the elegant, super effective alternative for all those non-electrified lines. So let's meet the hydrogen-powered train, also known as hydrail. And just look at these. This isn't some clunky, cobbled-together science fair project. Nope, these are state-of-the-art machines. They're designed to be comfortable, super efficient, and honestly, they're a powerful statement about what the future of clean travel can look like.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work? I mean, how do you go from a tank full of hydrogen gas to a train gliding down the tracks with zero emissions? Let's break down the science. Don't worry, it's pretty cool. The magic really happens inside this little box of wonders called a fuel cell. The easiest way to think of it is like a battery that never dies, as long as you keep feeding it fuel. It just takes hydrogen, grabs some oxygen from the air around it, smooshes them together, and voila, you get electricity. That's literally it. And this is how it all comes together in this just beautifully simple process. You've got hydrogen stored in tanks up on the roof. That hydrogen flows into the fuel cell, where it mixes with oxygen from the air. That creates the electricity that powers the motors. And the only thing that comes out the other end? Water. It's clean, it's simple, it's just brilliant. And this is where it gets even better. This shows the whole cycle. In projects like the Hydrail Bahn in Germany, they're actually using renewable energy, like wind and solar, to create the hydrogen fuel. So the entire process, from making the fuel to running the train, is totally green and sustainable. It's the whole shebang.
Okay, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's not a perfect solution just yet. Switching from diesel to hydrogen brings a whole new set of engineering challenges to the table. And the biggest one? Refueling.
Just take a look at this. Refueling with diesel, we've got that down. It's fast, about 20 minutes, and it's a simple process. Hydrogen, on the other hand, it's a little slower, and as we're about to see, it's way more complex. The whole game is about getting that 25-minute plus time down as close to diesel's as possible.
So here's the fundamental problem. When you try to cram a gas, like hydrogen, into a tank really, really fast, it generates a ton of heat. It's just basic physics. And if you go too fast, the temperature can skyrocket to unsafe levels. So you've got this built-in conflict. You want speed, but you absolutely need safety. And the solution they came up with is just so clever. The engineers figured out, hey, what if we pre-cool the hydrogen way, way down? We're talking as low as minus 40 Celsius before it even gets to the tank. This basically gives it a running start, a thermal buffer. It lets them pump the fuel in way faster without the tank overheating. Genius.
So, with clever engineering like that solving these big hurdles, hydrogen trains are quickly moving from being a cool concept to being a real thing.
They're leaving the lab and hitting public rail lines. This isn't the future. This is happening right now.
And believe me, this isn't some small, local news story. Listen to this quote from a German official. He calls it a worldwide role model. When the first entire fleet of these trains started carrying actual passengers, it was seen as a massive milestone for the entire transportation world.
Okay, now I want you to just look at this number, 2,803 kilometers. Just think about that for a second. What on earth could that possibly have to do with a hydrogen train?
That is the new Guinness World Record. A single hydrogen train traveled over 2,800 kilometers on one single tank of fuel. It ran for more than 46 hours straight. So if anyone had any doubts about the range or the reliability of this tech, well, I think this record just blew those doubts away.
So let's wrap this up. What does this all add up to? Well, you get zero emissions at the train itself, plus you get incredible range, you get a super quiet, smooth ride for passengers, and here's the kicker. You can make existing train tracks green without that insane cost of putting up electric lines. And you can do it with a refueling time that's getting faster and faster. It's a win-win-win.
You know, it's just such a powerful reminder that even a technology that's been around for 200 years can be completely reinvented. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we can do this for the train, if we can turn it into a zero-emission machine, what's next? What else is on the horizon for clean transportation?